I'm Melissa Wood, showrunner of High Score, and now you're listening to Gamertag Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005. You're listening to Gamertag Radio with your hosts, podcaster Hall of Famer Danny Pena, the always opinionated Paris Lilly, and from outside of the norm, Peter Toledo. This is Gamertag Radio.
And now you're listening to Gamertag Radio, episode 1062. This is your host, Danny, and we have a jam-packed show for this. We have the filmmakers of the limited series that just came out today on Netflix called High Score. I've been praising this documentary series on the podcast and also online through social media. I've been talking about it a lot. Make sure to watch it. It's a lot of fun. Very entertaining, well-produced, and you will learn a lot about the history about video games. And it's available right now, starting today on Netflix. So I have the filmmakers on this show. We're going to be talking about how was it for them to work on this series. I also have my brother Nano. We recorded a review of the new Battletoads games. The game was developed by Delata Studios and also Rare. So we talked a lot about the game, and I hope you enjoyed. So we're going to go straight to the interview and then the review, and we're going to wrap this show up, all right? But first, head over to gamertagradio.com, post your comments and feedback. Listen to our past episodes. You can find us on any podcast app. All you have to do is just go to the podcast app and search for Gamertag Radio. Follow us, subscribe, post a review. It will help us climb the top of the charts, and also a lot of people will see that activity. It will push the show up, and then people could also discover us because of your support. So if you get the chance, you could also share it with your friends, family. Just spread the word about GTR. If you would like to also be part of our fan mail episode, which episode 1061, it's a strictly fan mail episode. P and I were answering just questions from our listeners worldwide. A lot of new listeners too that called for the first time. It was a lot of fun. We did a over 60-minute conversation about just answering your questions. So I would love to do more of that. So if you get the chance, if you would like to be part of our fan mail episode, this is how you could contact us.
Send us your feedback or questions. Give us a call at 786-273-7GTR. Email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com or leave a message on speakpipe.com/gamertagradio.
All right. So we're going to go straight to the interview. And once we come back, we can also review Battletoads for the Xbox One and PC. We'll be right back after this.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
Okay, I'm Melissa Wood. I'm the showrunner on High Score.
I'm Francisca Strel. I am the executive producer and director on High Score.
Awesome. Now, I just want to say congratulations. I got an opportunity to watch an advanced screening of the series, and I had a great time. And it brought back a lot of memories for me, man, because I've been gaming since the early 80s. So my question to you, like, what was it that inspired you both to come up with this series? And was there your gamers or maybe something that got your attention that you were like, you know what, I think there would be a cool story to talk about?
Yeah, I actually worked on short documentary series for Great Big Story called 8-Bit Legacy. And so we produced 7 short stories about the people behind the games. And then we realized, wait a minute, there is no shortage of amazing tales when it comes to the people involved in making games. So we need to pitch something bigger and making a long form series. And so that project kind of led to the next, and we decided, okay, let's put a pitch deck, and we went to pitch it to Netflix, and here we go.
Nice. And Melissa, like, was there anything that both of you probably learned during the making of this series that you didn't know before?
Well, I've learned a ton. I mean, I would not call myself a gamer. I certainly grew up playing Atari and then Nintendo. I played a little bit of Doom in high school, and then I've been very casual, a very casual gamer. So getting to the sort of personal, more in-depth side of video games was all new territory for me. We definitely balanced out the team. We tried to find people who were more casual gamers along and balance that out with more sort of hardcore gamers so that we knew that we were telling stories that could appeal to a broad audience. But I think even if you know a lot about games, you'll learn something by watching this show, because Franz and I were really lucky to have a very generous sort of development period where it started off with her and I just sort of sitting in a room and a white sort of a whiteboard completely blank, trying to figure out, what the stories were that we wanted to tell. And we read a lot, and we had a lot of phone calls, and we started building our team and figuring out what the stories were. So we really tried to find opportunities in every episode to go a little bit off the beaten path, so that we'd find littler known stories that would be less familiar to people who may already know a lot about the industry.
And how long it took you to work on this project? It seems like it's been like a couple of years, right?
I mean, it took a while. It was over a year, and we were really lucky with Netflix, and that they supported us in using time at the beginning instead of rushing out and just filming sort of the biggest hits of games. They gave us room and time, and sort of the creative liberty to explore sort of the other stories that are lesser known, which did take research, and it did take time to go out and film these. We were in Japan for several weeks. France was there. She filmed all of the Japan segments. We were all over the US, also in Ireland. So it took a long time to pull all those stories together. And then in edit, sort of figuring out how these stories were going to interweave with each other was another thing that took us sort of a long time to puzzle out in post.
Man, and how was it getting all the guests though? It seems like it was a tough part of the work on this too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's funny. A lot of people who are involved in video games don't get that much an opportunity to, speak about it, but also film some scenes that are illustrative of their work. So I think they were really excited about the project. And when we would call, and like Melissa mentioned, we had a great development period, which allowed us to speak to a lot of people and do our research. It was great to, always discuss like, all right, we want to obviously feature your story and the game that you worked on, but we also want to think creatively and think about how we can do your story justice and bring it to life visually. And so I think that was also exciting for them because, they're creators themselves. So they understand that need to make it engaging and colorful. So most of them were really into the project. And I think there is also a good time factor with some people who, worked in this game decades ago and they feel that the stories should be told now.
Was there, out of all the episodes, were there any ones that you think that is your favorite and maybe the most challenging one out of the six?
They're like children. You love them all, but they all annoy you a little bit too. I mean, I don't think we'll say, oh, these are the absolute, at this point we've seen the episode so many times that we see the little flaws and imperfections. And if we had more time and more money, we would keep on working on it. But I have to say, of all of them, we really tried to find a unique voice for every episode and have it be its own identity. And so in a way it's kind of hard to choose just one because each one just kind of fills its own space in my mind.
Mm-hmm. You know which one got my attention the most out of all of them was the episode 4, This Is War.
Oh
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I remember being at I was really into the whole console war back then. I was young, Super Nintendo versus Sega Genesis, and as a gamer, like I was just like debating with my friends, right? But seeing this episode, seeing how it was behind the scenes in the marketing side, I'm like, oh, so that's how everything happened, So it's good to see more of that, the behind the scenes of not only with marketing but development and how they came up with like different ideas of, like, for example, the game Star Fox, and that was really cool, or Street Fighter. So that's the part that I really enjoy the most, is just learning a lot of how was it for the creators to come up with like different ideas or how to promote the products,
I think for like the collection, the nostalgia connection, for me, episode 2 is definitely what I connect more with my childhood. I mean, I remember Christmas morning when I got my first Nintendo. I remember the weather outside because it was a bright, sunny day. Mm-hmm. And I think we went to watch a movie with my family, and I remember I can't wait to get home to play Mario. So there's something like, it's so visceral about Nintendo of that time period for me personally that I do connect to on that episode. Sorry, Franz.
No, I was just saying it's fun that you picked on, all the marketing characters in the series and all the other people involved, because I think that's something that was obviously very intended on our end. We wanted to make sure that, we include not just like the kind of known producers or developers, and show also other sides of the business, whether it's marketers or artists or music composers. And I think another voice that was very important for us to include in this series was the voice of the players, and making sure that we demonstrate that video games come to life when they're being played, and obviously make it very relatable to the viewers. And exactly like Melissa said, being like, oh, I remember when I got my Nintendo that Christmas morning. It's really like bringing them into that nostalgia factor and fond memories.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You know which part I felt like it was very important, I'm glad that you added in there, was how the history of how the cartridge came about.
Yeah.
I think that was a very cool moment, and for me as a gamer, seeing that.
And we were surprised by how kind of buried that story was. It is such a incredible innovation in the history of video games, and mm-hmm. we our co-producer Alex Miller happened to find it in an old early 80s magazine called Black Enterprise, and it was during her research into video game arcades in Detroit. Because the video game boom in Detroit, it gets a very sort of short treatment in our episode, but it on itself is like a really interesting story how, Detroit, had kind of fallen apart in the early 80s, and then video game arcades completely took over, but then there was controversy around that. Anyway, mm-hmm. But during the research into that, she found this story about Jerry Lawson mentioned in this article, and we started doing separate research, and there was so little on him. But when you think about cartridges, which you don't nowadays because they're so ubiquitous, but the invention of them was so pivotal in how we play games. So we really felt it was important to tell this largely untold story because we finally have a platform to share it.
Yeah, let me ask you, like, how was it for you, for both of you, to pick the right topics for each episode? Because video games has so much history and so much stuff that I think is great to people learn more about. But I feel like there should be more than just a season 1. There's a lot more to learn about the industry. I think the history about
totally. I mean, I think it was very challenging because we could have made this, 40 hours. And obviously, it's impossible to make this an exhaustive history of video game. And that wasn't our point, to be honest. We really wanted to focus on the people behind the games and really show, the craft that goes into making them, and also, insist on the fact that they're a form of art and involve so many skills. And I think, when Melissa and I were looking at this whiteboard trying to figure out, all right, what are our characters early on in the development stage, we were always trying to find, stories that were just good and not being like, oh, we have to cover that game because it was like a very important one, or it did this or that. It was really like the people behind them and their stories. And then I think what was extremely challenging was finding a way to weave these stories together, because obviously we didn't want to do an anthology series where it's just one game, one episode, and that's all we do. So we had to find kind of like, some links between one story to another and build a sort of narrative arc that would span across the series.
Yeah, that's the thing that I really liked about this series, that it flowed everything together. It wasn't like one episode and jump to another one, but I feel like everything was connected. How like Nintendo was very influential, even since day one. Like I felt like that was like the whole thing about the series was Nintendo was very, very influential, man, from during that time too, So
absolutely. And sometimes it was hard to even sort of, everything in this industry is so organic and intertwined that it was sometimes hard to separate things, and things were happening all at once, and people were having similar ideas at the same time because they were influenced by what was going on in the world, or they were inspired by something they saw in the same game. So in some ways, just sort of parsing it out and sort of unraveling it so that we could present these stories in a way that people could follow them, that was tricky. Finding connections was easy. It was sort of whittling it down and simplifying it. That was like the hardest part of it.
Yeah. You know what I would love to see in the future if there's another season? I also would like to see maybe games or consoles that maybe was ahead of its time during the time it came out, but it was a failure. But I think maybe people will learn, like, how was it when they started, releasing these products back then. Like, for example, I feel like Sega had a great console, the Sega Dreamcast. I think it was amazing, but it flopped. It was a very important console, I think, at the time, because that was the first online gaming console, I think. So like things like that, I think will be cool for you to maybe add it in the future if there's a season 2 or in the future. I think it'll be awesome.
We'll
take note.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Now, was Nintendo very involved with this in Japan or no?
I mean, we really reached out to, because this is, a series that kind of looks at stuff that happened 25, 30 years ago. We were really sort of just reaching out directly to the game creators, the people that were involved. And, because a lot of the people who worked on these games so long ago, they no longer work at those companies. Yeah. So we kind of just went straight to the people that whose story we wanted to hear, because again, as Front said, we really want to focus on the people behind the games. And while the companies themselves are present and they have stories as well, it's really the story of the people behind those companies that either made them a success or had a challenge to face.
I have a very interesting question here. This one is good. So when you both of you finished already editing and working on the series, how was it getting the narrator to be involved with for this series? Was it something that you had planned from the beginning, or this just came out after? And also, for those that don't know, who's the narrator of the series?
So the narrator is Charles Martinet, who is actual voice of Mario in all of the Nintendo games. And when we pitched the show, we just wanted to make sure that the voiceover wouldn't sound like a voice of God and just having this like slow historical pace. And so what we really wanted was someone who would share, crazy deep passion for games, and that it almost feels like, it's someone you could have played game with when you were younger, and just feel it in the tone. And then Great Big Story had actually done a profile on Charles Martinet a few years ago, which was like the top must-watch video on their YouTube channel. And we just thought, wait a minute, Charles would be absolutely perfect. And he's also the absolute nicest person on the planet. He's so sweet, and he was so excited. He watched the series, loved it, and we're very fortunate that he accepted to narrate the series.
That's really awesome. Really cool. Yeah, I bumped into him one time at the airport, and I'm like, "Hey, voice of Mario, right?" He's like, and he was like, "Yeah, hoo-hoo," in front of everybody. I was like, "Wait, what?" But
He's
another,
the nicest.
yeah.
He's the nicest man.
Oh
I
yeah,
mean, just
very
Yeah.
cool.
just a pleasure to work with.
Yeah, also a couple years ago, I bumped into Nolan Bushnell at E3, and I had him on
Huh.
our show. We talked a little bit about Atari and everything. But the first thing I told him, I'm like, man, I just want to say thank you, man, because because of your product in the '80s, the Atari 2600. That's the reason why I became a gamer, and now I became a content creator years ago. So I just want to say thank you, man. My grandmother was the one that bought me the Atari, man. She had no idea what she was doing. She just bought it and gave it to me. He was like, "Oh, okay, thanks." So how was it, getting him also involved to be part of the series and talk about the history of Atari from back then?
Well, I mean, he's a bite machine. I mean, he has incredible stories to tell. He is such a creative person and willing. I mean, I think a lot of people, know Nolan Bushnell as the man behind Atari, but also he came up with Chuck E. Cheese. Like, he's come up with so many incredible ideas in his life that we just felt lucky to have his voice on the series to share his stories and his perspective, because he is a character.
Yeah. So how you guys both came up with the name High Score? The name, was that something also from the beginning, or what?
Yeah, actually, that's the original name we gave to the show early on, even at the pitching phase. But the reasoning behind it was just like, we wanted a unifying title for the show that, would just make viewers feel like that's something we all strive towards. And that's a high score. And obviously, we do have games in this series that are not about reaching the big high score, but I think it was a great title to just show that drive, what drives us when we play games. And there was this amazing nod in episode 1 when we interviewed the Space Invaders creator Tomohiro Nishikado, and he explained how he invented the high score and how that created this effect in players to just want to play and play and play more and get better at it. So that was just kind of perfect and very fitting.
When I started watching this, I was like, okay, cool. And I was wondering why they started off with talking about E.T. right in the beginning of the episode 1. Was there a reason for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think just from a storytelling standpoint, which is really why we did it, is because we wanted to show failure at the beginning. We didn't want it to feel like a bunch of sort of vignettes of success, which it really was in the beginning. It was sort of that all these creators sort of stumbled on unexpected success. But I think in order to tell a story with some tension, we had to sort of explain at the beginning that you can fail, and you can fail greatly when you're pursuing a creative task like making video games. And also we just kind of felt like, the way he delivered that line, I think you kind of learn that you kind of discover that you're learning about the people behind the games, and not just the game itself. It was about him trying at something and failing.
Yeah, it was a very interesting story hearing how was it working on that game. So yeah, that's cool. Now, there's been a lot of great reviews, man. So now the series just came out worldwide. Are you excited? Are you nervous? Like, have you been checking online?
Everything at once.
Yeah. Are you been checking online?
I'm very excited.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm both very excited and very nervous, obviously. I just want it to go well. And I think what's fascinating as well is that, it's going in a lot of countries and people around the world are going to be able to see it. So I'm just curious to see the reaction. But yeah, I woke up this morning saying, like, I want to see the posters that Netflix chose for me. And I want to see like what my husband got and my colleagues. And, I want to make sure that people watch it, and fingers crossed it all goes well.
Yeah. Yeah. No, honestly, I really, really enjoy this. And I've been telling my family, friends, people from our listeners, and I think it was a well done, well produced series. And I love to see more of this in the future because, again, like I was saying earlier, video games has so much history that I think is important. Like how you mentioned about the creation of cartridges, like that's super important. A lot of people don't know about that, so I would like to see more of that in the future. And I hope it becomes a huge success for both of you.
We do.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So one more time, you want to mention how people could find the series, and yeah, we'll end the interview.
So High Score premieres August 19th. That's today on Netflix.
Awesome. All right, but thanks a lot.
Thank you.
All right.
Will do.
All right, take care, okay?
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
I'm Franz Kostrel, executive producer and director of High Score on Netflix, and you're listening to Gamertag Radio.
Just want to say thank you to Melissa and Franz. It was a lot of fun just having a great conversation about High Score. Again, I've been praising this for a while. Go watch this series and let me know. Let us know on Discord. Go to discord.gg/GTR. That's discord.gg/GTR. Make sure to watch it and join Discord and let us know your thoughts about it. All right. All right. So I'm going to do something really cool here because we have people listening worldwide and I have a surprise for you, the listeners. So right before we post our review of Battletoads, how about I give a free copy of Battletoads to one of you, one of the listeners. So I'm going to post a review. I'm going to say the code right here. This is only for Steam. So this is only Steam PC users could download this. And this is totally for free for you. So here's the code. 2CFT7 KDB as in boy 59 P as in pod G as in girl T as in toy EJ. All right, that's TCFT7 KDB 59 PGTEJ. There you go. Your free copy of Battletoads. Enjoy. Now let's go straight to the review.
This is Gamertag Radio. Voicemail at 786-2737-GTR.
All right, so we're going to be reviewing a new game here that's coming out for Xbox Game Pass. It's been a very, very long time since the release of the last game. It came out during the Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo days, Battletoads. So yes, they're back. Battletoads back. That's Rash, Zitz, and Pimple. They're all back here for a new adventure. I have my brother here. Nana, what's going on, man?
What up, man? Enjoying the new game.
Ooh, so you've been playing it, right? Because there's no online co-op, so we can't. Play.
That's like the most disappointing feature of this game, like, or the one feature that's missing.
Yeah, that's the only one. But you could play with the kids, which is good because there's not a lot of games that has the local couch co-op, which is awesome.
The local co-op is appreciated, especially for a game like this. It's. It's just, I really wish we could link up online and play. Like, it's one of those things that, like, I just expect every game now to have online multiplayer.
Yeah.
But I guess I'm a little spoiled.
Nah, it's all good, man. It's all good. Hopefully they can add that later, man. So the developers of this game is not Rare. It's actually Delilah Studios. They worked on this, and also Rare was involved with everything. So first thing first, I have to say, like, I really enjoy the animation in this. Like, at first I was like, man, this is so weird at first, right? Like, I'm not used to seeing this Battletoads.
It was a different art style, an approach that they took. That at first when I did see the images and when they announced the game, I was like, maybe I can get on board with it.
Yeah.
But once you play the game and you see the vision that they had, and you get to actually experience what this game offers, it's great. I think it fits perfectly, and I fell in love with it more and more.
Yeah. I mean, the more, like, I already completed the game. So this is what happens. So there's 3 difficulties. There's the story mode, if you just want to go strictly with the story. There's also normal, and there's Battletoads, which is really, really difficult. I mean, you played it normal, and it's tough. It is tough.
I'm playing it right now on normal difficulty, and it is not as easy as I wish it was. You know, like the thing is, like, if you had more players playing with you, I guess it would be a little easier. When you're playing by yourself, you could switch out with the characters. You know, you could swap out between the brothers, and you know, everything's on you. But it's just, it feels like there's so much going on at some battles that you wish you had another person with you.
Yeah, and that's what happened with me, man. But here's the thing: if let's say one of your characters dies and you can't switch, you only could switch only with 2 left, right? Then you have to. It depends on the difficulty too. So you have to wait until respawn. Your character will come back. So let's say it might be 15 seconds, 20 seconds. The harder difficulty it is, the longer it's going to take for your other character to respawn back. And then once they respawn back, their health is not going to be completed full. It's still going to be maybe like half or less, again, depending on your difficulty. But
let me ask you, so what did you think about the fighting mechanics? You know, there's combos in the game. There's a lot. It seems like there's a lot of buttons to press. Like, did you feel overwhelmed at some points?
At first, yes. Because when you play the game, you have an option to actually have the tutorial on. So while you're playing, especially the first couple levels, it will show you, like, because there's some enemies that might be blocking, so I couldn't figure out how can I kill the enemies, right? So you have to hold B depending on your character.
It's a shield break,
Shield break, and they'll get dizzy, and right there, that's the opportunity to attack, right? But not only that, Nano, later in the game, there's even more different styles of games that you could do too. So there's the beat 'em up style, there's the vehicle one, and there's other ones that I really don't want to spoil it, but think of it as like kind of like Geometry Wars and other type of modes.
Yeah, so that's like the thing, right? Like you're further along than I am.
I completed the whole game.
Yeah, no, I have not. I'm on the I believe the 3rd or 4th chapter or level of this game.
Okay.
I'm at I want to say the second act, I would say.
Okay. All right. That's good.
So
that's good.
But the thing is, like, the levels they look great, you know, like the animation is dope. I think it really fits what they were going for. And it fits the Battletoads, like their silliness, you know what I mean? Like they're 3 you know, amphibians from space.
Yeah.
That have human bodies. Like it's a silly concept to begin with, but like I think the Lala Studios, they really captured what this game was.
Yeah,
and I don't know, sometimes I feel like the level was too much. Like you have to travel from, you know, the front end of the level to the back with, like, you could swing around with your tongue.
Yes.
But then you could also grab flies with your tongue to get more health, and you could grab enemies and pull them across the map to you.
It's really good. And you know what's my favorite part of the game? Is the cutscenes. The cutscenes is really good.
Oh, man, it's so well. Like, honestly, I didn't expect so much comedy. And at first I was like, oh, it's kind of funny. But then, like, it grew on me. Like, the writing was so good.
Yeah. It's really good.
I thought like, comedic value was through the roof. I loved it.
It felt like we were watching, like, Adult Swim or something, right?
Yeah, no, it was good, man. Like, like the cutscenes go on for so long. I'm like, oh man, what's going on? It felt like a full 5-minute, you know, webisode or whatever. Like, just a cartoon episode that just, it's a little shorts, you know. You get thrown like a little 1-minute clip, but it's so enjoyable that you want more and more.
Yeah. You did a lot of combos, because with, you know, beat 'em up games, it will show the number of combos you have. Like I was
surprised at how many combos there were. Yeah, and how every character has their unique specials, and you could do like little taunts and certain animations that look really good.
Which one of the 3 do you use? Because I like Rash, and now if I'm fighting a boss, I use Pimple, because he's stronger, a little bit slower.
He's the one that I end up using the most, but he's my least favorite.
You use the most, but your least favorite. Interesting.
Yeah, because the thing is, he's so strong, right? Like, so he's kind of like the tank of the team. So he his hits hit a little harder. And I like his charge attack where like he turns into like a little train.
Yeah.
So that's really good. But I think my favorite character would be though, like his move is his combo move ends with like a drill.
Oh,
like
you're talking about
like a jackhammer.
You're talking about Ritz.
Ritz.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's my favorite character. Like he's the one that I enjoy using the most. I think
no, not Ritz.
Like
not
the
Ritz.
quickest.
It's not Ritz. Zitz.
Oh my god, getting everybody's name wrong.
Yeah, it's Zitz. So it's Rash, Zitz, and Pimple. Pimple is the big one. Pimple is the strong power.
The orange, the strong one with the train, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so no, like the one that has like the jackhammer combo.
I believe that's Zitz.
Yeah, Zitz. He's my favorite one. I believe that's the fastest of the attacking characters.
Oh, dope. I like Rash because I feel like he's in the middle. He when it comes to like.
He reminds me a lot of like Donatello. You know, like he's real silly and.
Yeah.
He's a very joking character.
Yeah. Agreed. No, it's good. It's good. I think the game overall is dope, and especially it's going to be available in Game Pass. I think it's perfect.
So what, this game releases August 20th, correct?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
By the time you listen to this, everybody's going to hear it. So they're going to.
You know what? I honestly feel like this game is a must download for Game Pass users. Like it's not even a question. You know, like if you have Game Pass Ultimate or I don't even know what version of Game Pass there is now.
No, but you get the regular or Ultimate. Ultimate is more for PC and Xbox together.
Okay, so it regardless of what version of Game Pass you have, download this game if you have it. Must download. This game is so fun.
Yeah, it's so good. It's really,
and
really good.
If you don't have Game Pass, I'd suggest you buy this game if you're a fan of Battletoads. If you're into beat 'em ups, you know this game is it's really good. You get your money's worth in this.
Yeah, this game came out back in 91.
Was it that long ago?
Yeah, it was been long.
You know what I like too? Like within the first few minutes of the game, they poke fun at how old they are.
Yeah, they do.
Like how old the series is, like and what's happened to them and where have they been.
Mm-hmm.
And right off the get, you know, it's real funny and you know, they enjoy the silliness of what the franchise is.
Yeah, it's really good. Really, really good. So anything else, man? I mean, look, the only negative thing, and we both agree, there's no online.
That online co-op, man,
that's the
it
only
hurts them
issue.
So much.
That's the only issue I have, man. But besides that, good game.
Do you think they'll release it? Like, would there be an update?
I mean, I haven't heard anything, but I hope so. That would be awesome if they can. You know what I'm saying? That would be really, really cool if they could do that. So yeah, man. I just want to say, man, thanks for the quick review here.
The quick thoughts.
Yes, of Battletoads, man. So it's good.
Honestly, it's awesome.
That's all good.
But it is out by the time tomorrow. You should be able to download this game, or whenever you hear this audio.
Yep,
the game should be available.
Yeah, man. Just make sure to check it out and let us know, man. This is only going to be available on Xbox and also PC. And also, if you have Steam, it's going to be available there too, man. So that's it, man. Thanks, man.
Have you tried playing this game on xCloud?
Not yet, because it's not available there yet.
It's not on the beta?
It's not on the beta. But it's going to come out once the game comes out. It will be there.
Cool.
Yeah. All right, everyone. But thank you for listening, and until next time, take care.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio.
That's it. Thank you so much for listening to episode 1062 here at Gamertag Radio. It was a lot of fun recording this. And please let us know your thoughts, your feedback. Hit me up on Twitter at Godfrey, Godfree. You can follow me there too. I'm very, very active there. So let me know your thoughts about the episode. All right. Thank you for listening. Until next time. This is Danny. I'm out.
Thanks for listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.